Interesting news today. A guy named P.Z. Myers, an evolutionist.
Wasn't he an expelled?
Ben Stein's movie.
Yeah.
He was one of the evolutionists with Richard Dawkins in Ben Stein's movie Expelled. And P.Z., our producer, Will Duffy, sent a debate offer to P.Z. Myers, written debate on evolution. And P.Z. turned us down. That's not surprising. It's pretty hard to get evolutionists to debate, but he wrote a blog titled Bob Enyart Wants Me to Respect His Intelligence. That's the title of the blog. It's got about 100 posts to it so far, and so we have responded. And I'd like to share with the audience our response, because the response is called the P.Z. Myers Trochlea Challenge.
Never have we had a problem.
Yeah, it's just a blessing. So we have the Trochlea Challenge, the P.Z. Myers Trochlea Challenge. Now, I'm going to go to our website, kgov.com, and see if it's on look at that. Wow.
There it is.
Wow, it's really on the website. Okay. So it's on the website. There it is. It's right front and center. And it's a sketch. We had this commission. This is a drawing, a diagram of the human eye. But the point really isn't the eye. The point is the sling. Darwin, of course, talked about the complexity of the eye. And he said it's absurd in the highest degree to think that the eye, with all its contrivances and sophistication, could form by natural selection. He said it's absurd to think that.
And it is.
He was right.
Yeah.
But forget about all the sophistication of the eye for a moment and think about something as simple as a sling.
Okay.
A little hook that grows out of your skull, a little hook of cartilage, and one of the muscles that help to rotate your eye so you could look around, one of those muscles narrows to a cord, because otherwise it's thick like a belt. Mm-hmm. It narrows to a cord. You could see it in the picture. Just go to kgov.com. It narrows to a cord and it slides through that sling. And that's because the muscle is pulled from the back of the eye. Mm-hmm. But you don't want that to go backward. It's got to pull off to the left. It wouldn't help you when you want to look to the left if your eye was pulled backward.
Right.
So there's a trochlea, and that muscle is rerouted like a sling through the trochlea.
Wow.
And so our question to evolutionists, they say natural selection, things evolve by slight modifications. Tiny changes that add up over millions of years to the sophistication that is biological life today. And that sling, will that help the eye if it's not functioning?
No.
That setup right there, that construct.
No, it has to function in order to help the eye.
In order to help the eye. So you need a hook to grow out of the inside of your skull.
Right.
Very close to the eyeball. And you need one of the muscles that are attached to the eyeball, growing off the eyeball. You need the muscle, I think it's called the superior oblique.
Okay.
I think that's the name of that muscle. You need that muscle to string itself through the trochlea.
The sling.
Through the loop. Yeah. And so if that's not happening, it's not going to help the eye any to have a loop there. All right, so P.Z. Myers Trochlea Challenge. An eye muscle, and you got to go to kgov.com to see this for yourself. P.Z. Myers Trochlea Challenge. An eye muscle narrows to a cord and then threads itself through a sling called the trochlea. This simple design enables the muscle to pull in the direction needed and helps it function in the space available. Right, so there's a minimal amount of space, and the eye, to be rotated correctly, has to be pulled in that direction, and so there's a sling to make that happen. Darwin's natural selection could not choose this configuration until it functioned minimally. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
I mean, it might not work great, but it's got to work to be selected.
Right.
Purely random mutations would have had to modify different types of tissue like bone, nerve, muscle, and cartilage. So 4 different kinds of tissues all have to be modified. All of that without conferring any benefit to the organism until the sling gave an actual advantage to survival.
And it wouldn't have happened according to the laws of evolution.
Yeah, right. It couldn't have been selected. All those mutations and all those kinds of tissues, they couldn't have been selected for until it provided advantage, and it could not provide advantage until it functioned.
Right.
At least minimally.
Right.
So it's an impossible task. So this diagram of the eye goes on to say this. Also, the mutations do not even occur in these structures themselves. Joe, if somebody hasn't studied genetics, they might think, well, the mutation in your eye muscle occurs in the eye muscle. Mm-hmm. So the muscle sort of sees a hoop over there off the skull, and it just wants to sort of grow toward the hoop.
Yeah.
But that's not where mutations occur. They occur in the DNA molecule inside every cell in the body. And so at the moment of reproduction, then copying mistakes of the 3 billion rungs of the DNA ladder, thousands of those rungs have to be modified in all different kinds of tissue types in order to produce this sling.
Mm-hmm. Which is, what are the odds?
What are the odds? It's impossible. Yeah. But so we say, describe roughly how this might happen, PZ. Copyright 2010, kgov.com. So we say, PZ Myers, describe roughly. We're not saying exactly. Just lay out a diagram, a flow chart of how this might happen.